师傅还没讨好。
Hello.
Sifu, are you ready?
Yeah, okay.
A very pleasant good afternoon to Venerable Weiwu, Venerables, brothers, sisters. Thank you for being with us today. Welcome back to the fourth session on Buddhist Total Quality Management by Venerable Weiwu. Previously, Venerable Weiwu has briefed us on the management role in BTQM. He mentioned that in universal participation, such as climate setting, proper allocation of education and training resources, and also active involvement by all levels. Top management is crucial to set a good example. So, before we begin, everyone, please put your hands together and let us bow and invite Venerable Weiwu to begin today's session.
Okay, good afternoon. Let us pay respect to the Triple Gem. Please put your palms together. We recite together. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya. Okay, today our class has been postponed to the afternoon because of the spring cleaning at Tanjang Temple this morning. I, in fact, had just returned from KL a while ago. So let me share the slide with you. Let us continue with our lesson. Okay. We are going to talk about the original Japanese model of management activities. So in this model, we see three types of activities. The policy management, in Japanese is called Hoshin management, daily management, or routine management, and cross-functional management. And then at the bottom, it says that all these three categories of management has problem solving as a common basis. But rather than, I'm going to edit these slides later on. Rather than calling this a problem solving, we're going to more appropriately use that in any one of these as preparation, execution, and review. So personally, I like to put the management activities in two dimensions. So as you can see in this slide, so in this model, we have on the one axis, this on the vertical axis, activities which directly controllable by one's own department or one's own function. And then the other half at the bottom are the cross-functional or cross-departmental activities. And on the horizontal axis, we have routine management on one half, on the left-hand side, and then breakthrough management on the right-hand side. So in each of these, we apply the PDCA or PER. So this is the model that we are going to use. So when put in this model or in this context, we have altogether 4 types of management activities. Own function, routine, and own function breakthrough, cross-functional routine, and cross-functional breakthrough. If you go back to the one-dimensional 3 elements model, I think one of these quadrants is de-emphasized. On the cross-functional management, the emphasis is on the breakthrough. But in my own experience, after you have set the breakthrough goal for the entire organization, you have to deploy to different functions or different departments, and then when you execute, you need to put efforts in the daily management aspect. So this is the model that we are going to use. Now let's explain a little bit between the difference between breakthrough management versus routine management. So in breakthrough management, the top management, this is usually done at the top management level first. The top management of an organization will pick on high impact areas. Normally, 1, maybe 2, certainly not more than 3. So in the selected high impact areas, aggressive goal will be set. And the whole idea is if we have, let's say 1, then you can focus the entire organization into this particular high impact area, and then for an entire year, sometimes even longer than 1 year, but let's say for an entire year, you work hard on this and achieve great results. And then in the subsequent year, you can move on to the second high impact area, and so on. There is a note here about the definition of a breakthrough. It says if you have an idea on how to do it when the goal is set, then it is not breakthrough. It doesn't qualify as a breakthrough item. It's easier to give an example. Matsushita Company has one organization called PHP. Through this organization, they share good management practices of Matsushita with outsiders. So I had the opportunity to attend one of the PHP seminars. And in that seminar, they shared a story about Matsushita division making car radios. This was not like a modern, sophisticated audio, even audiovisual system that you find on modern cars. So previously you have a car radio, and then with a very old model, maybe you have a cassette player, and later on a CD player. Now it's more common to have USB input that you can play audio and video files. But this was quite an old story. So that time they were just making this car radio for one of the automobile company, which at that time was number 2. And my guess was that Toyota had been number 1 for a long time. So number 2, my guess at that time was Nissan, and at that time Honda was number 3. So let's say they were supplying car radios to Nissan, and they had been the supplier for Nissan new car models every year, and they had that business for 3 years already. So every year they have to renegotiate to be the supplier, and like most Japanese companies, Nissan has to be competitive, and so they need to have a lot of cost-cutting initiative. Although car radio is not an expensive element of a car, they still every year request for a price reduction. So after the first year, in the second year, they reduce the price of the car radio supply by 5%, and then the subsequent year by 4%. So this was the third negotiation year, and they had done their homework. They were prepared to give, about 4%. That was the idea. But if the customer bargain really very hard, maybe they will give way and agree to 5% reduction. So after all the greetings, this was the team of Matsushita people, consisting of the R&D, marketing, as well as manufacturing representative. So at that time, Matsushita car radio division only had a small market share. In terms of market leadership, they were placed number 3. So there were 2 competitors ahead of them. Uh, so the Nissan team got to business and started to share an information with Matsushita. They said something to the effect that one of the competitors of Matsushita had approached their top management to offer to supply the car radio at 40%, at a price 40% cheaper than what they were getting from Matsushita. So they didn't exactly ask for 40%. They just give this information and say it's very hard for us to continue. They say that they have no problem, no issue with the quality of the Matsushita produced car radios, no delivery problem. They like to continue the business with Matsushita, but they say that the price has to be drastically reduced, hinting that something like 40%. So when Matsushita team heard about that, they thought that was a very, very unusual, and out of politeness, they requested that a week be given or some time be given for them to further discuss among themselves, and then they would get back and give a quotation to Nissan. Obviously, all the homework that they had done was not going to get them to be able to successfully sign the deal. So as soon as they left, among themselves, they were saying that this was quite an impossible price, that it would be a price, that selling price would be below their cost of making the radio. In any case, this was an important customer. They had to politely give a quotation. So a meeting was called. So this story went around a Matsushita company. So they called a meeting to discuss on the matter. And then they found an uninvited guest, Konosuke Matsushita, the founder, went to the meeting uninvited. And then he said to his people, he said that actually our customer is very, very kind. When they receive an order from one of our competitors, who is number one in terms of market share for producing car radios, it was 40% lower than the price they were paying Matsushita, and they could have written off Matsushita altogether, but they still share that piece of information, that important piece of information with Matsushita people, and give them an opportunity to see if they could make a similar offer. So The grand old man then said something quite philosophical. He said, let me also tell you, if we are trying to reduce the cost of our product by 5%, it is going to be easier. It is going to be easier for us to reduce the cost by 50% than 5%. So this is the title of the story. It's easier to do a 50% reduction than a 5% reduction. So obviously, it sounds illogical, but what the wise old man was trying to share with his people is the fact that if you are looking for a 5% reduction or a 5% improvement, then you will be essentially doing the same thing. You will be designing the radio in the way that you used to do. And set a 50% target to achieve. Then you have to forget about the same old way of doing. So this is an example of a breakthrough. So obviously, when the grand old man talked about a 50% reduction, his own people had no idea how to achieve it. But since that sharing was given by the grand old man, they obviously have to take up that challenge. So they had to market it very, very differently, very aggressively, and then also develop a radio and make it and manufacture it. So they accepted that challenge, and then of course this is a story shared by Matsushita. It had a happy ending. So they were able to retain that business, and then within a few years, they moved from a market share position of being number 3 to the top supplier of car radios, and had new customers added to their list. So this is an example of setting an aggressive goal. This is a breakthrough management. Earlier, I talked about the need to be very focused, and ideally just choose one high impact area a year to focus the entire organization. I'd like to share with you another story from my professor, teacher, Dr. Kano. So once he was invited to another American company, and as an advisor or consultant, and then the top manager gave very well prepared a presentation about what they were doing. And then after he completed his presentation, so the general manager talked for a while and then replied. He said that, Professor, maybe you don't understand that for my job, I have a great responsibility. So all the things I share to you, they are all important. So the professor then said to this general manager, he said, "Oh, you have too many girlfriends. Yeah? You get the moral of this story." Yeah? So he was telling the manager essentially that if he chose so many areas, is no longer focusing the organization. So whatever he listed out, 7 or 8 items, will get his people really very, very busy. And it would have been better for him to sit back, look at the entire business, and just select one area. Maybe if it was very difficult, maybe 2 areas. So the essence of breakthrough management is focus. Focus, focus, focus. Okay, then on the other side, we have the routine management. So routine management activities are the ones necessary to meet the day-to-day obligations for the function or cross-functional team or cross-functional council of an organization. Sometimes routine management is also called daily management. So if you have already established a very good routine management with a good process, then you will be able to make small improvement on the KPIs that you have chosen. The example of what we mentioned as doing things the same old way, it will still get you to make improvement, and then if you do it over the year, this could be quite substantial, and you can still use the old way because the organization become more experienced and more efficient in doing the same job. So this is the distinction between a breakthrough and a routine management. Now let's consider how do the top management team of an organization allocate limited resources of the organization to breakthrough management versus routine management. The first thing we would like to emphasize is routine management is the foundation of good management. So the top management of a company should initially focus on getting the routine management in a sound foundation, as a sound foundation. So there is a Buddhist story about a rich man asking a contractor to build a penthouse for him. So when his contractor starting to work on the foundation, and then start floor by floor, he said, no, he was not interested in the lower floors. He only wanted the top floor. I think you might have heard of this story. So here we say, don't try to build a penthouse before the foundation, or even before you build the lower floors. So at the beginning, focus on establishing a good foundation, focusing on strengthening the routine management. So only after a strong foundation has been built should the top management plan on something of the nature of what we describe as a breakthrough. So people like to jump straight away into the penthouse, and no, this is not the correct approach. Then there is an emphasis that whether routine management or day-to-day, daily management, we should pay equal attention to the three stages of preparation, execution, and review. So this slide has to be modified. The first is a PER in equal font size. But there are people who set very, very beautiful plans, but then fail to do justice to the group plans and do a very poor job in execution, or just jump into execution without good preparation, or even with a proper preparation and execution, then fail to check the results, fail to review the group results and standardize it by revising the process of the original plan. So it has to be a balance. In anything you want to do well, you have to do preparation, execution, and review, all of them very well. Now let's move on to the distinction between own function versus cross function. So for Buddhist organizations, maybe we may have several sections or several departments, if you like. So we can use instead of our own function, we say own department, and then inter-department or cross-departmental. So the first category of own department or own section are activities within your own control. So whether you are a big department in a Buddhist organization or a section, or in very big Buddhist organization. They have branches in different countries, but for most of us, we don't have to make it so complicated. And then you see a term, it says is the activities of our own department is especially important for line function. In American management jargon, these line function and staff functions were first used by the Army, the American Army. In line management, you refer to organization which has a lot of own control, whereas the other category of staff functions are the department that coordinates activities across many departments. So in the context of own function and cross function, the line function belong to this own function category, whereas the staff function belongs to the other. So I may share with you the original description of the line and staff function. Maybe I will share with you a link when we prepare a written revision of this particular lesson. Okay, then in your department, you may have items deployed from a cross-departmental plan on the particular portions that you have direct control, and then you take ownership. For example, the Matsushita company, to reduce the cost of the car radio by obviously more than 40%. To support this high impact area, the R&D department has to take ownership, part of the ownership. Similarly, the production department in their procurement of the parts to make that radio also has its particular items that it will take ownership. Okay, let's move to the cross-functional area. These are the activities which your function or your department coordinate but have no direct control. So example, people in the we describe their nature of responsibility as belonging to staff function. So examples of financial department. So the money is not spent by them, but they are the ones that collect the information, from everyone, and then monitor the financial position of the company. When your company grows to a good size, then you need to have these staff function activities. So maybe I would say that, if you are in Buddhist organizations or NGO, which is not a very big one, then don't make things complicated. So there is a saying, small is beautiful. So if you are a small manufacturer, for example, then you don't need a separate finance department. So just one manager controls everything, not only production, but controls have to do the accounting by itself, and have to employ people, train people by itself. But when you grow big, you have many different departments, and obviously there is an advantage to have a common finance department, and also human resource personnel department that helps you to recruit staff, to conduct training for the entire organization, and so on. And then quality assurance or quality control is another example of a staff function type of activities. So here you need to generate plans and KPI or performance measure, and then deploy to the team members. So in the Japanese model, this is a slide produced by Ishikawa. He talked about typical manufacturing company. Some of the departments, he put it as a vertical, or what the American model called line function. So we can understand that R&D is there, production is there, marketing and sales are there, but I don't quite get, why admin is also there. Well, in any case, let's move on to the bottom. So for that organization, big organization, once you grow in size, then you have another type of activities which Ishikawa used the example of fabric. So you have a weaving, you have vertical as well as a horizontal management. So in areas like cost control or financial matters, in quality, in human resource, then you have this type of activities. So Ishikawa said that both types are important. So for the line type of activities, these departments have a lot of direct control on what they do, whereas other supporting units don't have to bother too much on this. Okay, I may say that I mentioned this before. If the organization is small in size, then you don't have to bother about being complicated by this. So then you would just have routine management, and then after you have built up a good foundation, then be selective and when you are ready, select breakthrough areas so that it will bring your organization to a next level of performance. So obviously, the example that I gave you on our activities being affected by implementation of movement control, so we could no longer hold our regular weekly lectures or weekly chanting, weekly puja session. Then we had a group of people with strong IT background very quickly help us to move the activities online, and that became an example of achieving a breakthrough when we could reach a wider group of people. So the participants increased 3 to 4 fold. Okay, so routine management and break providing a direction, setting. So is maybe okay to translate as a policy, but it's more than policy. It provides a direction for the entire organization. So that is called Hoshin Kanri, 方针管理 or policy management. This was the term that FPNL used. They call it policy deployment, emphasizing that in these areas, obviously, you cannot just depend on one function or one department. So it has to be done with close and good coordination and cooperation of different sections. So the key word is focus, focus, focus. What about routine management? So there is also one word that describes routine management. In routine management, you have to standardize. You have to standardize, standardize, and standardize. Okay, so I think I will not continue with the next maybe we'll leave that to the next lesson to further elaborate on routine management, since it is the foundation of a good management system. So it's going to be more important for us. Just to share with you example of Tan Xiang. When I first shared these management concepts with our own members, and then we had staff when I conducted training. I also first emphasize on building up good routine management. Okay, so this is a good place to stop. We'll continue to further elaborate on routine management in the next lesson. Thank you.
Thank you, Sifu. Focus, focus, and focus. After the preparation and the main execution, we have come to review stage. Let us invite Sifu to lead us on the merit dedication.
Okay, so please put your palms together. I have to go back and find the file. Okay, we will use the Shantidevas. Where is that? I got so many. I didn't open this beforehand. Okay. Shantideva. I cannot find it, unfortunately. I think, there are so many of these, maybe in the earlier trouble is I have too many. Okay, I think just to make it simple, you just put the palms together and we all together transfer the merit of teaching the lesson and attending the lesson to all sentient beings. Thank you.
Thank you, Sifu. On behalf of everyone, I would like to express our gratitude to Venerable Weiwu for spending time guiding us on Buddhist total quality management. Thank you again to everyone who gave up their free time to attend today's event. We will continue again next Sunday at 9 a.m. Finally, everyone, please put your hands together and bow to Venerable Weiwu. Thank you.
Okay.